Welcome to the Mind Vault. If you've ever wondered why you do what you do, this channel is for you. We unlock the psychology behind your patterns, habits, and thoughts.
You know that feeling, right? You're staring at a task and it feels like you're wearing a lead vest. That's laziness, and the usual advice is, well, it's to just use willpower, to just push through it. But what if that's exactly why we keep losing that battle? It's this constant draining fight. All the productivity gurus tell us to just do it, to force ourselves into action. But trying to overpower resistance with sheer force, that's like trying to swim straight up a waterfall. Yeah, you might make a little progress, but you're going to end up exhausted and probably right back where you started.
So, there has to be a smarter way. And there is. It comes from the legendary samurai Miyamoto Musashi, and he laid out the difference perfectly. The novice, well, they waste all their energy trying to force a result. But the master knows that victory comes from something else entirely: careful positioning, making the win almost inevitable.
This art has a name: Kyojutsu. Now, this isn't some mystical secret technique. It's a deeply practical strategy. It's about arranging the conditions around you, your space, your mind, even your friends, so that taking action becomes the most natural choice you can make. It's about making success the path of least resistance. So who is the mind behind this incredible idea? Miyamoto Musashi. You've probably heard of him, maybe the greatest swordsman in Japanese history. But if you only see him as a fighter, you're missing the entire picture. His real genius wasn't just in wielding a sword, it was in strategy. A strategy for the duel, sure, but more importantly, a strategy for life. I mean, think about this. He won his first duel at just 13 years old. For decades after that, he was completely undefeated. But then he had this huge realization. His victories weren't just about skill, they were about strategy. And that one powerful insight sent him on a lifelong journey of reflection, which led to him writing down his philosophy in his final years, a complete blueprint for a life of purpose. And this brings us right back to that core idea of Kyojutsu, the power of positioning. See, when you position yourself correctly, willpower basically becomes irrelevant. You stop fighting yourself. Instead, you arrange your world to make success almost guaranteed.
And this quote just says it all, doesn't it? The outcome isn't decided in the heat of the moment, no. The battle is won or lost, long before it ever begins. It's won in the preparation, in the strategic positioning. The action itself, that's just the final, logical conclusion.
Okay, so this sounds great, but how do we actually use it? Well, Musashi's strategy breaks down into three really practical areas. First, there's your physical positioning, your environment. Second, your mental positioning, your mindset. And third, your social positioning, the people you have around you.
Let's start with your physical space. There's a story about a developer, let's call him Gohan, who is always missing deadlines. He didn't just try to force himself to work harder. Nope. He created what he called a flow environment. He cleared every single thing off his desk, used short timers to focus, and turned his desk to face a blank wall. These tiny physical changes did what years of trying to force it never could. They basically eliminated his procrastination.
Next up, mental positioning. A huge project feels overwhelming, right? And that feeling creates resistance. The strategist doesn't try to tackle the whole thing. They break it down into the smallest, most obvious next action. So you don't write the report, you just open a new document. You use deadlines to create clarity, and you prepare your mind to find a state called mushin, or no mind.
And finally, social positioning. This one is huge. The people around you are like currents in a river. They're either pushing you forward or pulling you back. So work alongside people who have the same goals you do. That creates momentum. Make a public commitment. That raises the stakes. You have to arrange your social world to make your success inevitable.
But look, Kyojutsu is way more than just a tactic or a productivity hack. It's a piece of a complete warrior mindset. To really get its power, we have to look at the bigger picture, the philosophy Musashi laid out in his masterpiece.
In the Book of Five Rings, Musashi uses 5 elements to map out his whole strategy. It all starts with the Earth Ring, which is your foundation, your principles. Then it flows through water, which is all about being adaptable. Then fire, the intensity of battle. Wind, which is about knowing your opponent. And it all leads to the final element, the void, where you act with pure, transcendent instinct.
And that brings us back to that key concept, mushin, or no mind. This is the ultimate goal of mental positioning. It's that state of flow where your mind is totally free from all the junk, the overthinking, the worry, the doubt. It's not about having a totally empty head. It's about having a mind that's so clear and so present that you can just act instinctively and perfectly. For a samurai, this was literally life or death. For us, it's the key to breaking through that mental paralysis we call laziness.
So, how do we take these 400-year-old ideas and actually apply them to our modern-day duels? The battle against distraction, against procrastination, against just being average. Well, Musashi left us a pretty clear guide in his final work, the Dakido, which means the path of aloneness. Musashi's very first precept is, accept everything just the way it is. Now, this isn't about being passive or just giving up. It's about seeing reality with brutal clarity. Wasting energy wishing things were different is just pointless. It's only by accepting what is that you can effectively position yourself to change it.
And his ninth precept? It's a simple and frankly brutal filter for modern life. Do nothing which is of no use. Just think for a second about the energy we burn on pointless arguments online, or anxieties about things we can't control. Musashi understood that our energy is finite. Every single moment you spend on something useless is a moment stolen from something useful. This is the ultimate mantra for focus.
This shifts the entire battlefield. The real duel isn't against other people, it's against the person you were yesterday. The only comparison that truly matters is internal. Did you get 1% better today? Focusing on that daily internal progress, that's the real engine of discipline. It's a battle you can actually fight and win every single day.
And now we get to the final and maybe the most profound lesson in Musashi's entire philosophy. It's a truth that a lot of people find really hard to swallow, but it is the absolute key to making discipline a permanent part of who you are.
This quote comes from the Void Ring. So what on earth does it mean? It means you have to reach a point of deep acceptance. The struggle, it doesn't just go away. The challenges never stop coming. The whole point of all this training isn't to finally get to a place where life is easy. The goal is to make the struggle itself feel natural.
And here is the great reframe. So many of us chase discipline because we think it's a bridge to an easier life. If I just work my butt off now, I can finally relax later. Musashi teaches us that this is a huge mistake. The purpose of discipline is not to find comfort. The purpose of discipline is to forge strength.
This right here is the lie that makes people quit. They run and run looking for the end of the bridge, and they feel totally defeated when they realize it never comes. But the truth is, the practice is the destination. The daily training, the constant positioning, that is the point. Discipline stops being something you do. It becomes who you are.
And here's the final truth. The resistance you feel when you're trying to do something hard, that isn't some obstacle you have to get over to find discipline. That resistance is the discipline. Engaging with that struggle day in and day out is the very thing that forges you into someone stronger.
Once you accept this, the whole game changes. You stop asking, when is this going to get easier? And you start asking a much, much more powerful question. You wake up and you don't look for the end of the war. You look for the next battle. So what's yours?
If this opened your eyes, imagine what else is hiding in your mind. Don't forget to subscribe for weekly episodes that decode your brain, one pattern at a time. And if something clicked today, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Until next time, stay curious.